The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. This is Joel over here at SalesNexus, and today we're going to show you guys around the new version. You guys were recently upgraded to the new version from the old version, and so we wanted to get you guys up to speed so that you can find the things that you normally find every day, and just go about your normal daily business. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through SalesNexus and show you, some of the main things, some of the important things that you're going to be doing or that you do in SalesNexus every day. And so for those of you who don't really know me, my name's Joel, and if you can see my screen, hopefully I was sharing my screen. If not, here's my screen, right? So, I'm Joel. This is me, the goofy guy. If any of you've joined my go-to meeting before, you've seen my goofy smile, my blue shirt. And here's my contact information, just in case after this, you have some more problems and you'd like to reach out to me directly. You can call me on my phone number, reach me at my email address. And then also, if you want to go to our website, you can find out about the team, a little bit more about the team. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a little bit of your support resources. Most of you know what those resources are, but because of the new version, it makes some of those resources more available to you. So I want to show you about that stuff. And then I'm going to show you in the system how to do the things that you were doing in the past, and maybe now, because everything's changed, it's almost like Chinese now. So I want to help show you guys how to translate that Chinese. And then we're going to, do a little question and answer session, a brief one, so that you guys can ask questions that weren't covered in the training. And then I'll answer as many of them as I can. And then, we'll have another one of these training sessions on Monday in case you want to attend that one as well. And this is being recorded also, so you guys can watch it later. So the support resources, you guys are all familiar with the salesnexus.com site. If you're not, it's salesnexus.com support. And we've got, prices for our services. We've got training. We've got some pre-recorded webinars. We've also got some how-to guides. And we've also, under the training, we've got some free 30-minute training sessions that you can schedule. So that's something you can take advantage of anytime you need a little bit extra help. Also in the system, and I'm going to show you this when we switch over to the SalesNexus demo site, I'll show you the chat, which many of you have probably already found is the chat button down in the right corner. It'll open up this help pop-up, and as you can see from this screenshot, the help pop-up will actually let you search the knowledge base on certain topics that you may be trying to do and you're not really sure how in the new version. Here someone's typing in calendar, and you can see here it's got a bunch of different articles that talk about the calendar and different things you can do with it. So let's move over to SalesNexus, and we're going to take a look at the live demo portion of this. And I'm going to make this here full screen so that you guys can see the demo better. And so I'm going to log in, right? So you guys recognize this from this morning, this new login screen. So I'm going to log in here. And as you can see, obviously it's way different. Everything looks, a lot different than what you're used to. And so some of the things that, I know you've noticed already is how the contacts are laid out. So let's go ahead and take a look at that first, because I know that's probably one of the main things that a lot of you are doing on a daily basis is you're interacting with your contacts, you're making notes, you're making activities and tasks for reminders. And so, that's one of your main main jobs. You want to know how to do that, right? So when I select a contact by clicking on that blue magnifying glass, I'm going to see a new layout. Looks like this one you can see on my screen right now. And you can see here's the customer's name or the contact's name. So I got Aaron Burnett. This next field, which is actually empty right now for this contact, is the title field. But since it's empty and I want to put something in there, I want to edit this. I'm just going to click on those little dots and it's going to let me put in the information that's missing. If I know what that information is, I can enter that in. When I click away, it saves it. The next field here is the company field. And this is a new feature that's in SalesNexus, not the company field itself, but the abilities that we've added to this company field. So in the past, you might have added some companies to your database that were the same company, but each of your staff members may have named it something a little bit different. So maybe it was Absolute Brands, but maybe someone else named it Absolute Brands and put the city there. So you can have this set up so that it auto searches or quick searches on all of the companies that you have in your system, so you can pick the right one, so that your team members won't be making a bunch of erroneous company names in your system. So that's a new feature. Once you've added it, you just click away and it will save that company in there. The next thing that I wanted to show you guys, I had a question about this morning, is this make lookup. What that does is it takes everybody in my database that's associated with Absolute Brands and puts them into a lookup so that I can send them an email campaign, or I can do my phone calls from that list, however you want to handle that lookup. And I'll show you that lookup here in just a second. The next thing you'll notice is these icons. They're different from the old system. We have the calendar. This is used to schedule tasks. We have the notes or add note, sorry. We have add a note. So when you click this, you can just add a note just straight to your contact. You don't have to, I know a lot of you do this where you just click here and then you'll add the note, right? And we're just going to say blah, blah, blah here, but obviously you'd have something more important to say. And once you save it, just like in the old system, it shows up over here in your notes. This dollar here, if you're using sales opportunities, that's going to allow you to make a new sales opportunity for this client right here, this contact. And then continuing all the way over here to the right in the left side, there is the Edit Layout button. This is really important because in your old system, your all of the things that you had on the top of your display are all here on the left-hand side. So you might notice that you might have a bunch of things there, and you're scrolling a lot to get to those items near the bottom. What you'll do is you'll click on this gear right here, and you'll reorganize those things. Maybe agency's way at the bottom, and it's taking you forever to scroll to it, and it's something that's really important that you always want to see, so you can move that up, right? So you can move it up there, move it down, wherever you want to put it, and save it. I'm going to move it up to about right here, and I'm going to save it. And so you can see that. The other thing is you can remove the fields from view, or you can add other fields to the view. So let's say, I want to add these to my view, right? I can do that, and I'll save it. Same thing, I can remove those. And I'm going to show you here in a second when we move to the right side why that's so important, removing some from the left side, because you can actually still view those at the same time on the same screen. Also, if you look down below the contact, normally there would be a contact picture here if you had one, if the client had one. And you can, cycle through your lookup. Like right now, we have a lookup of all 406 people that are part of Absolute Brands. So I could cycle through them 1 through 406. I could tag this contact. I could also log a call with a note. That's the same as in the old version. This is, you click here, you're going to get the pop-up. You can log that call with a note. Use a custom regarding if you wanted to. Use one of the canned regardings that you might already have set up in your system. So those are going to all be in there, whatever you had set up previously. You can save with a follow-up, which most of you guys are familiar with that. When you do that, it's going to allow you to schedule another task that's a follow-up of this task that you're completing, or a phone call that you're completing. So maybe you're sending them a quote or something. Then you have the completed, attempted, and left messages. These buttons right here are meant to be a super quick way of you logging your call. So you can click that. It says I completed my call. If I refresh my notes over here, I can see it's got call logged, right? So right below here, these orange buttons, I just want to touch on these as well. You can duplicate your contact right here. If you're making copies of contacts regular, click on that. It'll make the copy. Same thing as what it does in the old system. It'll ask you which fields do you want to duplicate. You want to do all of them, or you want to do primary. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about primary here in a little bit because it's really important. And then paperclip, you can add files, attach files to your contacts by clicking this. When you click it, it's going to allow you to choose a file by clicking on choose file, and then you just click attach file there. And then the next one is the map. So if you've got an address in here like this one does, I can click that and it'll open up the Google Maps and it'll show me where that person is at. And I can, print this out or send it to my phone if I've got that, set up with Google, and I can get to that customer. So you can see it's right here, that pin, right? There's also a reports, generate reports. You can click that and do some quick reports. And then, of course, the trash can. If you're tired of this contact, you can click on that and delete him. All right, so each of these fields down here that you see dots, you click on them to edit them. So if they're empty, you just click there and it'll let you edit it. And then you click away and you see how you got this green indicator in the corner. It's telling me that it's saving that record. And all of your drop downs that you have, they're going to all be there as well. And they're all going to be filled with the same information that you have in you had in your old system. They're all in this new system. So the right side, let's come over here now because this is really a important place for you guys. Whenever you enter in notes and activities, you want to be able to see that stuff just like you did in the old system. And when you first log in for the very first time today, you probably saw this when you went to a contact. You saw your contact information over here, and then you were like seeing social, and you're going, oh my gosh, all my stuff's missing. I don't see my notes. I don't see my activities. Where did it all go? Well, this now on the right side is all of the tabs that were normally at the bottom in your old system. So what you'll do is you'll find this social and you'll hover your mouse over it, and you can switch to any of those other tabs. One of the big ones is obviously notes, right? So all of your notes that you're entering in over the past 10 years or so are all going to be there. Your activities, same thing. You go here and you can see what's going on with this particular client. You can even clear these activities from here. Like say, for example, if I'm working with this client today and I'm actually going to finish up this meeting, and had a great meeting, I can do something like this. And then maybe my next step is to send him a quote. I'm going to do save with a follow-up. And you can see here, now I can schedule my follow-up and say, create quote, right? So I'm going to do this, create quote. And I'll pick the day and time. We'll just put something out in the future. Actually, that's too long because we don't want them to wait that long. And we pick a time. We can even make it timeless if we want to. But I'm going to leave a time because, it's important for me to know when I'm supposed to do it. So then I save it, and now it puts that inside of this list of activities here. You can see down here at the very bottom, because I've got so many activities that I didn't clear out. There it is, the one that I just scheduled. Another thing really important is your contact documents. Anytime that you use this paper clip over here and you upload a file, it's going to go here in the contact documents. It will also give you an entry here in the notes with the same uh, file that you uploaded. In this case, it's an image that was uploaded. But this is all of your contact documents, and you can click on the link, and it's going to open it in the browser, just like you had in the old version. All right, so this is your contact area, and this is like I say, one of the most important things I know for you guys is being able to use this particular piece. Uh, the other thing that you guys were really familiar with in the old system that has changed in this new system is you had an advanced search and or a lookup, I'm sorry, the lookup. So that when you would go there, you also had an advanced search. But when you would go to the lookup, it was a quick way for you to search on first name, last name, company, so you could pick what you wanted and you could just search on it, and really fast get the information you were looking for. So now this quick search is the replacement for that. And, so you're looking at this and you're going, well, man, I can't search on what I want to search on because, if you look at mine, ID status and company are the only two items that I have selected to search on right now. So it's telling me that's the only two I can search on. But I don't want to search on that. I want to search on first name and email address. So I'm going to click on this little box here. It's going to drop down. It's going to give me a bunch of different options. I can have up to 3 selected at the same time. And if I have 3 selected, but I want to change it from those 3 to another one, like say, for example, right, I don't want to search on this. I want to search on first name and email. Well, it's not letting me click it. That's because I'm at my limit. I've got 3 selected. So I need to unselect at least 1, but I'm going to unselect 2 because what I want to do is I want to select email. But you look here, I've got ID status selected still. I cannot unselect that because I have to have at least 1 selected at all times to search. So I'm going to select first name. I'm going to unselect ID status. And I'm going to pick email address because that's the ones I care about. That's what I want to search on. And so now I can come up here and I can start typing in the person's first name and I can find them. And if I know their first part of their email address, I can type that in. So I can go example at, and then you can see there it starts filtering them. And then when I find the one I'm interested in, the one I want to actually interact with, I just click on it and it'll take me to that particular contact. So now the next thing is you're looking at this and you're going, well, that's great, but I don't see the one field that is most important to me in that list, right? So, and that's going to happen because you're going to, inevitably, there's going to be some field that you want to search on that's not listed here. But all's not lost because you can actually add that field into this list really simply. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. You see how this at the top says all primary? If I click on this, it's going to let me search across all these fields that are listed. All of these fields have been tagged as primary fields, and we can do that inside of our system. So let's go to, and we're going to show you now the administrative menu, and that's what we call the X menu. So if you hover over it, and let's go down to System Settings, and then you're going to go down to Create and Change Fields. A lot of this stuff probably looks pretty familiar to you. It's just laid out differently. So Create and Change Fields, you remember that from the old version. So I'm clicking on that. Now I'm going to click, these are contact fields that I'm searching on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this box here on contact. It's a drop down. I can select other areas of the system. But for quick search, it's contacts. So I'm going to leave it on contact. And I really need to see information that's not being listed there. I need to see credit limit, right? and it's not listed. So I come over here, yeah, see, not listed, and I really care about that. So I'm going to select it as a primary right here. And then there might actually be fields up here that you don't care about searching on. But if you do care about copying those when you're copying a contact, like say maybe, for example, you're copying a contact and you always have to copy the primary and copy the, say, for example, the address fields, right? And those are, as long as those are marked primary and you select copy primary, it's going to copy those. So anyway, we're adding credit limit, right? So we're going to choose primary. And then also keep in mind, now when I copy a contact and choose copy primary, it's going to also copy credit limit. So I'm going to save this because I just selected it. So let's save it. So now it's telling me down here I've successfully saved my changes. And now I'm going to go back out of create and change fields. It doesn't matter where I go. I just need to get out of there so that the setting will take place. Now I can come over here to the search and I can say, yep, now I can search on credit limit. And now I can just type in, whatever that credit limit is that I'm searching for. So this quick search, very powerful and very customizable. Just, think those little things you have to be aware of when setting that up. Also, another thing that, another thing that you guys would be interested to know about is how to track referrals and things like that in the system, right? So there's a few ways you can do that. Many of you probably have a referred by field in your system. You can actually set that so that it will do a quick search based on the contacts in your system. So if you've got a contact in your system that's actually referring you new clients, you can start typing in their name, select them from the list, and now you've got that person's name tied to this record, right? And now the next thing that makes this really cool is you can find out how many people has Frank, how many of them has he referred me to, or referred to me, sorry. And that's really simple too. It's one of the other powerful things that's been done here in the new version is this create lookup. And this create lookup, the reason why it's so powerful is, as you can see when I chose all here, I have a whole bunch of these that I've saved. And I'm going to show you here in a second why that's so cool. But so let's say, for example, I'm looking for my referred by, right? I want to find out how many has Frank referred to me. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to find referred by out of all these fields. I got him, referred by. And then I'm going to leave it as starts with. I don't remember Frank's last name, but I'm just going to do Frank here. Starts with Frank. I'm going to do search. And now I've got, here's one of those people that Frank's referred me to. But if he's referred a whole bunch of other people, you're going to see those in that list. And I'll be able to take this, and let's say I want to send an email to those people that Frank referred to me. I'll just click on this, make this my lookup. So now I've got my group, my set of contacts, in this case just one. And you look here, I've got my lookup here, my one lookup, my one contact in that lookup. Also, I have a previous lookup, which is the last lookup that I did. And so I can kind of work with two lookups at the same time, a little different than the other system. One of the other things that's a little bit different from the other system is, from your old system, is you don't have to click on one of these guys to turn this lookup into something you can use. You just basically click on that, make this my lookup button when you're creating the lookup. So let's go back over here, right? So that's that's pretty simple stuff there on how to look up the people who have referred contacts to you. And then also, remember how I was showing you just a second ago how I had all those saved lookups? And right now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh man, I have to go up here, go to contacts, I have to click on create lookup, and then I have to go and choose the saved lookup I want to look at, and then I have to click search. Well, no, you don't have to do any of that. That's too much. We don't want you to do that. We want you to go and save that lookup. It's something you're looking at all the time. And then here on the view all contacts screen, we want you to go to the center here where it says all and choose the one you want to look at. I'm curious. I want to see if there's any changes to Absolute Brands. Is there new contacts? Is there, has something changed with this data that I'm looking at? So it makes it really simple. I can see the contacts that I imported from Lead Ferret because that's a lookup that I did where it's looking at the lead source for my Lead Ferret leads. In this case, this Lead Ferret lookup, as you can see, is a little bit wrong because it's not actually pulling on this column here. Someone else must have made this and put it in here as a joke. But anyway, so that's some powerful things that have changed, some new features, right? Let's go back to your contacts. We're going to look at one more thing here inside of our contacts. Well, actually, we'll say two more things, right? So one of the things that makes this new version super powerful, some of you guys might remember in the old version, to make a layout, you had to export some XML, make some changes, upload the XML, and then you get it to work in your old version, right? So in this version, I decide that I want to make a new tab. I've got some information that's over here on the left side. It's down, it's buried. I used to have it in a box called client information, and now it's buried, and I don't want to have to scroll all the way down to see it all the time, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the social tab because that's the one that's it's kind of like a base tab, right? It's just a plain tab, but it's one that I can copy, and that's why this is important. So I'm going to click on copy, and now I've got a brand new tab, and it's called Copy of Social. I'm going to name this client information, right? So just like that. And now these fields here, this is not the information I want. I want to put the information that's buried on the left side right now that I can't see. So I'm going to take all that stuff and I'm going to get rid of it. And basically all that does just removes it from view. You're not going to view that anymore. The stuff I really care about, and I'm just going to throw some stuff in here because we don't really have anything that's been buried on the left side right now. But if we did, pretend that it's this stuff, right? So I'm going to save it. And so there we go. Now I can look at my screen and I can see at one glance, I can see the information that's very important to me. I always cared about seeing that client information, but now I have to scroll down. Well, now I can see it on both sides. I can see the client information here, and then I can see whatever else I need to on this left side. I can also organize this so that it's in a different order, obviously. But even more important than that, if this is something I look at every day and I don't want to have to go here and select it each time, I can click on this Make Default button, and now it's just going to be there. It's just every time I come to a contact after logging in the morning, I see client information on the right side. And then if I'm curious about what's going on with notes, I can just change over there and see that stuff as well. So it doesn't change anything other than the fact that this is now my default when I go to a contact the very first time. All right, and so a lot of you might have a bunch of check boxes, right? So you might have some special tabs you made where you had just a whole bunch of check boxes, and they're meant to indicate maybe a status or something about a client, and it's each of those check boxes is representative of something that they're buying from you or some status that you need to know about the client, right? And so you're looking at this and you're going, man, if I put check boxes in here, I'm going to have a long list of check boxes here, and that's going to be a pain. Well, something that we did to make that easier, so it's not a big just list of checkboxes, is we made what's called the multi-select drop down. So you see here the centralization field. If I click here, you see how I've got multiple check boxes here? So I can go in here and I can say, okay, this customer is a centralized processing and save it. But if the customer is, more than that, maybe it's both, right? So I'm going to save it with both of them. I can even add. You see how it's got an edit list? I can even add another one. Like maybe I need to add another one. Maybe this is, maybe this is a global account. Something like that, right? So I'm going to click OK. It adds it in there. I close it. And now that's one of my options when I come in here. I need to refresh this because this multi-select to make the change, right? So now I can select that if I wanted to as well. And you can see as if I take a glance, I can see, oh yeah, he's central processing and centralized QC, saving you space and also, just making your better use of your drop down or of your check boxes. And let's see, let's move over to another section that I know a lot of you, or some of you rather, use on a daily basis as well, and that's email campaigns. We've actually made things quite simpler here in the new system. You can actually create an email template in a matter of minutes that will actually look really professional, and with pretty much very little effort on your own part. So one of the very first things as you look at this that I want to point out is you see this company logo here. You see it down here too. And you kind of see there's these colors and stuff that have been just kind of grafted here into this template. So this is all something you set up in the system. So when you come over here to the X menu, go to System Settings. When you first get to System Settings, you're on what's called Company Profile. Company Profile is all the information about your company, your address, your company name, any of your social links that you might have, your website, and then your logo. Once you upload your logo, you're going to end up getting a choice of some complementary colors, right? So, and maybe I want to change, I don't like the bottom. I want it to be dark. And, the top, I want it to be light, right? So I do that. And then I save it. And now when I go back over here and I'm going to create my email template, all that's been changed. So now my email templates are going to look like what I want my company to be represented as. And so I'm going to type in the name of what I want this template to be. Of course, I'm going to say test because that's what I do. I test things. And so I want to make something like this. I want to make something with a big image at the top. I want to have a button, and I want to have some text and my logo. So I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to double click on it. It opens it up. I don't like that image. I want to use something else because, a guy riding a rocket ship, that doesn't represent my company very well. So I'm going to pick something else. You know what? I don't know what this is, but we're going to pick that anyway, see what it looks like. So let's submit that. So that's a GIF, right? So I can put that in there, and when I send it, it's going to actually, display that to my customer. When they open up this email, they're going to get this really cool animated GIF. Then here, I want to change my text that's here. So I'm going to click inside of here. We still have all of your mail merge fields in the system. So you can come up here if you're doing contact info. You guys know a lot about how this works if you're using email templates. First name, last name, address, all that stuff. You can push it in here by just clicking on the item you want, and it'll pop it in here. Then you can type out your message, fill this all in. Your user info, this is the info that would be for you, not for, so you're the user in the system. You have your own email address, you have your own phone number. It's different from the contact that you're sending to. So that, of course, and you guys are familiar with that. You change this stuff, and uh, it will allow you to put that information as well. Once you've made those changes and you save that text, you can also come down here and change the button. Maybe I want to make a blue button with white text, right? So I'm going to do something like this, and then I'll submit that. So I got a blue button with white text. I can make the link where I want that button to go to. Maybe I'm trying to make Google more popular, so I'm going to do Google, if I know how to spell it, .com, and I'll say, Google, and I'll submit that. So when I send this and somebody clicks on it, obviously they're going to go to google.com, and it'll still track that somebody clicked on it, and send all that to your campaign stats so you can see when somebody's clicked on it and whatnot. And these templates, they auto save, so you don't have to worry about trying to find where the save button is. There is no save button here. Every time I make a change, it's going to save this. So I click apply to text. You see how it says template saved, so it's auto save. Another thing is with the new version, we're mobile conscious. So you can see here, you got desktop, you got mobile. If I click on mobile, it's going to show me a preview of what this looks like on a mobile device, right? So that's pretty snazzy, because now I can see if somebody opens it on their iPhone, they're not going to have to scroll around. They're not going to have to click kind of in weird places to see my, what I'm trying to show them. And I can go back to desktop, make sure that it looks fine as well. Also, this is all table-based. I want to see all the cells that I have in this template. I just hold down this show cells. It'll show me what I've got going on inside of that template. Can send myself a preview, just like in the old system. I'll click send preview, and then I'll just type in, the email addresses that I want to send it to. I can send it to myself and 3 of my best friends to make sure that it looks good. And when I'm done, I can close it. A few other little tidbits is I can go to options, I can rename it, I can copy it, can send it as a campaign, a single email campaign. I can delete it if I really don't like it, and I can change background color. So that's the email templates, how to create those. A couple of the other things that are going to be interesting to you guys that do use email templates and campaigns is, in your old version, you had that long list of campaigns and you had the graph and everything, and there was a lot of wasted space on that page. Really hard to find a campaign. You'd have a campaign that was run like 3 months ago, but then you had other campaigns run 6 months ago, and so that campaign 3 months ago is like buried between other campaigns, so it was a pain to find it. So now, if I want to find that campaign that I'm really interested in, maybe it's a new client process, right? So I'm looking, I can't see it right away, but if I start searching, there it is. So now I can go in here and I can view that campaign. Obviously, this one has no activity because this is a demo, but I will show you one that does have some activity. You guys are familiar with the way that the activity looks, because it's the way it looks hasn't really changed from your current version. And so you can see here, if you had opens, if you had clicks, if you had some opt-outs or bounces, they're going to all show there. You can take this information and create lookups based on it. So I want to see everybody who opened it, and I want to turn them into a lookup, and I want to do something special with that group. I just, choose opens from the drop down and then create a lookup of it. Maybe it's clicks, maybe I want to see the clicks only, and maybe that's the people I want to do something with, so I can make that into a lookup. So you can see here, I've got those 2 that I just did. I got the 166 that opened it, and I got the 7 that clicked, and then I can just go in there and start doing something with this list. One other thing I want to show you, that since I'm here on this lookup screen, is how to edit this list, like how to manipulate the data bulk. So you want to make a change to this data. Maybe you want to change the lead source, or maybe the ID status. Maybe all these people are now contacts. I'm going to go to Tools, edit list, and then I'm going to pick the field I want to make a change to. So in this case, it would be ID status. And then I'll pick the new status. Maybe they're clients now, right? So I can do that. And I click update, and now they're all clients. Also, if this list is, I need to take this and send this to my manager, or maybe I want to take this and manipulate it and maybe make some kind of graph in Excel or something like that, I can click over here and do export all, and it'll export that. You can see here how it exported it. All right, so one last thing to show you guys here, and then we'll field some questions, is the automation plans. Now this is really powerful. This is something that's new with the new version. This is something that will allow you to uh, automate a lot of the things that you're doing today that are repetitive. That say for example, you get somebody that you need to add them to a campaign, but you can only add them to the campaign when you've added them to the list, or your lookup, right? So you've got a bunch of contacts that they're prospects, and when they become clients, you want them to get an email blast about your product, right? And it's the latest and greatest about your product. You can set up an automation that when you're done changing that contact, that drop down from prospect to client, that they automatically just get on that campaign, so you don't have to remember later to create a lookup, to go and add them to the campaign, and then go about doing your other daily business. You can have the system do it automatically. So if we look here at this new client welcome process, we go in there and we take a look at what this thing says, right? So this plan will send a welcome message to a new client and schedule tasks for users to complete a new client setup. So this is something we typed in. This is something you can type in on yours when you do the automation plans. It also, it's important to know that this stuff will fire off and do some massive things. So for example, that list of 7 people that we changed from their old ID statuses to client, they all got on this campaign right here. The reason why is because this line right here, it says if the field is ID status and is client, then I want to do all this stuff down here. I made this campaign and I designed it so that, whenever there's somebody new coming into my company, that I make sure that everything I need to have happen happens. So that's what this is all about. And so since I've got this process and SalesNexus is handling that for me, all I have to do is just make the change to the contact record, and everything else is taken care of for me. So super powerful, and this is something that also this plan for automation plans right here. This is a SalesNexus add-on. So I want to show you this real quick. And we're going to go here because I want to fill you guys in on something special that we're doing just for you guys, as a thank you for for being a customer, a loyal customer for so long. You guys some of you came from R2 to R3. Some of you just in R3 to R4. So you're part of a class of clients that have been using us for anywhere from like 15 to or 5 to 15 years. Somewhere in that range. So we really thank you for being loyal customers and for sticking with us even when we hit little bumps, right? Because we know it happens. We have bumps just like any other company. So you see right here, this is the automatic plan, right? It's normally $85 a month per user, and you see what you get, right? You get the automation rules, which I just showed you. You get 20,000 emails per month. You get the 500 lead ferret contacts. the social profiles, and 5 gigs of storage per user. So all of this right here, we're going to give to you guys, the ones that were, this last bit that cut over from R3 to R4. We're giving you this for 6 months free, no questions asked. You guys get this for free. So just kind of as a thank you, because you've been around with us for so long, and we enjoy being able to serve you guys. So now let's go here. I'm going to start looking at what questions you've got here. And let's see what we can do to answer these. So I've got a question from Michael Ferrugia. It says, when you attach a file, how do you retrieve it? All right, yeah, very good question. So let's look here. Let me see if I can find one of my contacts that's got a PDF in there. And even if I don't, I'll attach a PDF, right? So let's just go to this Aaron Burnett. I know he's got a JPEG, right? So that's one type of file. I mean, that's an image, right? So I can click on it. I can right-click on this image just like I could on any other image in my browser, and I could save that, right? So, but I don't really care about the image. That's not as important as maybe a PDF, right? So I'm going to upload a PDF real quick. So let's choose a file. I'm going to pick something. Let's see, what do we got? Let's do, you know what, let's do from the desktop. Let's do the 4 steps to market domination. That's our new PDF that we put together to help new clients, our new class of clients that are coming in. And so I've chosen that file. I'm going to attach it. So it says it uploaded it successfully. But now you're going, hey, wait, I don't see it over there, right? So, you're right. It's not over there because I need to refresh. Sometimes we forget that, in this in browsers, everything's kind of a session state type thing. So that's why we got this refresh button here. Once you click it, it'll show you the document. Okay, so now I've got it in there, and I want to retrieve it. So I'm going to click on it. It's going to open it up in my browser. And if you look up here at the top, and I'm in Chrome, I'm in the Chrome browser. If you look up here at the top, see how it says download? I can just click that, and now I'm downloading that document back to my computer. And so that's how you would download a PDF. If it's a file, like a actual zip file or just a normal file, when you click on that file, your browser is going to know that that's a file that it cannot display, and it's just going to download it directly to your machine. So that's the way that you would download files using SalesNexus. All right, yeah, cool. So it sounds like, Michael, maybe you found it after you asked the question. So is there any other questions from anyone else here that you'd like to have us answer? And while you guys are thinking about that, thinking about the questions, I'm going to go back to our presentation here, and let's put it back into present mode just because it's cooler that way. And so just a little bit more about automation plans, right? So it lets you put SalesNexus in charge of monitoring like your contacts and changes, and be able to trigger email campaigns or reminders, things like that. I can see that a bunch of people have their hand up there. You know what? Let me see. I think that means that you guys want to speak. So let me see. I'll start with Jenny. I'm going to unmute you so you can ask your question. Let me do that real quick. So go ahead, Jenny. What was your question?
Yeah. When we're looking at a patient's file, a new patient that has contacted us, we are not seeing any conditions checked. It's very, almost all patients can check conditions.
Okay.
And when we look at that, we're not seeing it.
Okay. So one other thing that is important to note about the new version when you come over here into the new version is, let's take a look here. So you see this here, it says imported, right? So that's one of my tabs that was created in the old version, and when it comes over here, it's been imported, right? So, and let me find one of these check boxes. So in the system, when there's a check box that has been imported from the old version to the new version, and due to
now, how did you get to the edit layout?
Right. So what I did, and let me go back here so you can see that, right? So I've selected the tab that I'm curious about, and then I just click on the edit layout here, right? So once I've
all I have up there is notes.
Yeah, right.
I don't have an edit layout.
Right. So on notes, you can't edit that. But are you talking about a checkbox on this left-hand side, or are you talking about one on the right-hand side?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
There are no checkboxes. That's the problem.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you about that, right? So in the old system, the way that checkboxes were handled, and this is going to sound kind of strange because they did not look like text boxes, right? They looked like check boxes. But in the old system, the way that the checkbox was handled in the code is it was actually a text box, and it had an X or a or nothing in there, and that's how it would show if it was checked or not. In this new system, those checkboxes are actually checkboxes, and so what happens is, in order to transfer the data over into the new system without losing data and with making a checkbox, the system automatically creates a new checkbox for you. And I was hoping I had some in here, but I don't think that we've made any for demo purposes that would look like what I'm trying to show you. But if you go through your list, right, so the available fields, and I'm going to show you how I got here one more time just so you can see. So you click on the gear, and then go through this available.
Go back on that, please.
Sure, we'll go back one more time. So you see here the orange gear, right?
At the top. Okay, the little gear at the top. Okay.
Right. So you're going to click on that, and then you're going to scroll through this list, and you're going to find, and I'm going to just, I'm going to pretend that this is a checkbox. It's not, but I'm going to pretend, right? This, if it was the recreated one, the good one, it's going to say average monthly units, and then in parentheses right next to it, it's going to say new. So then I would just take that one and I would put that one in my view, and I would remove the one that's in there now. So like in your view, you're probably seeing, if this was a checkbox, you'd be seeing average monthly units, and it'd be listed over here in this list. And then over here, you'll see average monthly units new. So you'll just take out from here, you'll say, I don't want to see that average monthly units. I want to see the checkbox, and then you'll move that over. Does that make sense?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Okay, sure. Well, while you work on that, go ahead.
Well, we don't have everything in here, and that's my problem. We work in a medical situation.
Sure.
And all of that stuff has to be in there, and you can't click on each one.
Sure. Yeah, so I tell you what, Jenny, if you want, after this, I can help you with that, help you move those over.
We all need to be able to do that, have that information. It's really important.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I can help you with that after this training.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. All right, so I'm going to put you back on mute, Jenny, and it looks like, Michael, you had a question. So I'm going to unmute you so you can answer your question or ask your question of me.
I'm good to go. I figured out what I needed to go. I was going back and forth, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So
It's going to
thank you.
take some practice, but is what it is.
Sure, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to, we have time for one more question here. So I'm going to put you on the podium here, William. So what you got for us? Are you there, William? Maybe you're muted on your phone. I don't know. But all right, well, William, we'll hopefully, if you do have a question that's important, we can get that from you in support, so we can help you with that. And I can see also, it looks like Mila has a question, so I'm going to unmute her as well. And what was your question, Mila? All right, well, I guess Mila doesn't have a question anymore. All right, so anyway, I appreciate all of you coming and spending this time with me. I know that it's been a little bit, shaky. You woke up this morning and didn't expect, some of you didn't expect to see the new version. Uh, and we sent out some emails and stuff over the past few months to hopefully try and prepare everybody. And we apologize if some of you didn't get those messages. Maybe they, were going to a wrong email address or something. So, but we really appreciate you guys. And like I said, before, all of you that have attended here in this training are going to get, for 6 months free, the automation plans. And as I, showed you, all those things that you're getting with that. And so just if you have any questions or anything, you need more help after this, feel free to, raise some support tickets, use the chat, call us, send us emails to support@salesnexus.com, and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can. So hopefully you have a great rest of your Friday, and look forward to speaking with you and working with you again soon in the future. So once again, thank you for attending. Bye.